On today's episode of the Cryptoverse Market Roundup, Bitcoin Cash loses a quarter of its value in the last 24 hours, NEO jumps on some news about Microsoft and putting real-world assets on the blockchain, and the charts are a little bit boring today, so instead of looking at one, let's look at several. So all of that coming up in today's edition of the Cryptoverse Market Roundup. Stay right there. Hi there guys, welcome to the latest edition of the Cryptoverse Market Roundup. My name is Chris Coney, I'm your host and the founder of Cryptoversity, the online school where you can learn about Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies and blockchains. Find out more at cryptoversity.com. So let's hop over to CoinMarketCap to do the market roundup. We have the biggest winner of the day is IOTA. 31.49% gain today to 39 cents per 1 million IOTAs. And that puts IOTA still in 9th place in terms of ranking, just over $1 billion of market cap, 1,085 million. Now the biggest loser, as I said in the intro, is Bitcoin Cash, down 24% to $334. And it's also the most traded, well, I say altcoin, but I don't know if we can call Bitcoin Cash an altcoin, but we will for today. 188 million worth of Bitcoin Cash has been traded over the last 24 hours, putting it at a $5.5 billion market cap, and that puts it as the 5th most capitalized coin. I'll give the honorable mention to NEO, aka previously known as Antshares. It's up 27% itself, and I think it's because of the news about NEO collaborating with Microsoft to put real-world assets on the blockchain. So that's probably jumped on some news. I can't really say the same for IOTA. I'm not quite sure what news has come out about IOTA that has caused a 31% gain, but I'll look into that later today, no doubt. We've got Quantum there at 29% as well. I haven't highlighted that today, but I did want to mention that because it's close to how much these other ones have gained. I mean, I know IOTA should have probably got the honorable mention there because it's up more than NEO. It's just that I highlighted NEO so I could tell you the news is probably what caused the jump. One other thing I want to mention in the market roundup today, if we scroll down, there's in 59th place, there is a coin that's up 406%, and it's Mooncoin. Now, I thought that was hilarious because it's called Mooncoin, and it mooned. So with 406% gain, I'd call that a moonshot. So I thought that was a nice humorous little anecdote for today. All right, let's move on to the chart reading. So I'm not going to do any particular chart today. Let's just do several of them, shall we? This one is completely blank, but for 3 days, this is Bitcoin Cash trading against the US dollar. And you can see there's hardly any data whatsoever. There is just 3 daily candles so far. So not much analysis we can do on that. Interesting, the first day, it's got this great big range, the low of which is 0. Strangely enough, I don't think Bitcoin Cash went to 0. It probably started as 0, but even then, it should have come into existence at the same price as Bitcoin, shouldn't it? So I don't know what to say about that. We'll just have to keep an eye on it as it presents more data. But right now, on Bitfinex, it's trading at $320, which is even lower than what it said on CoinMarketCap. So that's that. Moving on to Bitcoin itself against the US dollar. We've got like a little mini, most recent tiny uptrend going on here. If I join the lows here, well, I say that it's not very good, is it? It's steeper. What I'm talking about is the low of the 2nd of the month, which is, well, that was 2 days ago, and then the 26th of July. Those are the 2 lows that I've joined up, and they make a steeper trend line, but it's only based on 2 candles so far. And you know my rule: 3 touches to be a trend line, so I'm going to have to delete that. But taking a wider view on Bitcoin, it's still sat between those 2, well, I call them golden lines that I've got there. The bottom of which is 26.10, the top of which is 29.21, and consolidating in that range still. We looked at Dash the other day. Smaller price movements, as you can see, smaller candles versus these bigger swings. Perhaps sanity has returned to the markets because of the Bitcoin Cash situation. It's kind of created some relief, perhaps, from all of the contention. But yesterday, Dash did break above the the Fibonacci retracement line we spoke about, the 23.6% line, which is around $183.54. It's broken above that now and is trading at $188.83. Bit of clear air for Dash now, so I would be looking at, say, $210 as the next target. Moving on from there, we can have a look at Ethereum. Still a bit flat after its major crash. Still sticking within my horizontal channel here, and still sticking under the 50-day moving average. You see that's acting as resistance still. Even today, the range is very, very flat indeed. You can barely see the candle. If I stretch it up, look, it's very tiny. Today's range, very tiny indeed. And actually, it's just above the 50-day moving average right now, but until that candle is fully formed, we won't know whether that 50-day moving average is going to continue to be resistance or not. So I'll put the auto zoom back on, and then we'll move on to LiteCoin, see what that's doing. Again, flat. Look at the candle for LiteCoin today. It's very flat and very tight, just like the Ethereum one. And LiteCoin is stuck underneath this Fibonacci retracement line, which is the 23.6% line at $43. It's the thin red line on my chart right now. And you can see if I really stretch it out, this is the thin red line. It's been resistance a few times previously, or I'll call it 3 times. It resisted the high yesterday, and the range is trading underneath that right now. Again, going back to the auto zoom and zooming out, I've got the short-term descending trend line there and the medium-term ascending trend line there to create that sort of triangle pattern. It was obeying it up until yesterday, and now it's popped out of it. So going back in again, you see there, providing resistance, and now as of yesterday, since it closed, what price did we close that at yesterday on LiteCoin? 42.57, and then today it stayed outside of that range. So if that carries on, we've got to break $43, which is the Fibonacci retracement line I just spoke about, and then we could be on our way back to $50 for LiteCoin. The only other one I could look at is, well, I could look at Monero, but like we looked at Monero the other day, and whoops, there's a big range there. Monero is a bit chaotic. It's sitting right now at $44.23. It's a similar coin value to LiteCoin, isn't it? But I've got a really long-term sort of pennant pattern going on here. And what I would expect to happen to Monero next is, well, it's going to get squeezed, isn't it? It's going to get squeezed in between that descending trend line and, if I could find the price, and about, oh, I can't do it. There's a huge bit of data in here that if I display it, yes, it's not going to work, that is it. Let me just measure it with my mouse instead. So the Fibonacci retracement line that's supporting it is around $42.80. If it breaks out of this pennant at around let's call it $45, it could be back on its way to $50. Oddly similar to LiteCoin in that way. There is one other chart that has something notable about it. On Poloniex, I'm plotting NEM against Bitcoin. Here it is. And you can see here I had this medium-term downtrending channel, which it broke on the 22nd of July, and then the price consolidated, zooming in once again to that. It consolidated for a while underneath the 50-day moving average. It's blown up 3 or 4 days ago on the first of August. So that could be NEM increasing in price, but it could also be Bitcoin decreasing in price. But we watched the price on the 1st of August, didn't we? Bitcoin didn't really fall much on that day, despite Bitcoin Cash launching. So NEM has broken out of that. It's broken 2 Fibonacci levels, including a price of, well, so we have to measure it in Satoshis. So it's broken 76.61. And that's now providing some support looking at it today. So that's all I've got in terms of the market roundup and the chart reading for today. So thanks very much for joining me for this edition of the Market Roundup. If you like this episode, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you're new around here, get subscribed. And if you would like access to my very best material, including my structured online courses, check out cryptoversity.com. Alright guys, that's all for today. I'll be back later on with the news and commentary show. So until then, it's me, Chris Coney saying bye for now.